All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Rekah, Kwadash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the apostles of GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder, Aharwam, Banyashal of the Lions Den Camp, located in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the men, women, and children that believe in sincerity and in truth. All right, shalom. I'm a Rayala coming at you with another lesson. All right, and today's lesson is going to be based off of the beginning of sorrows. All right, I just did a lesson on the pestilence, um, and now this lesson is going to be based off of famine. All right, has made major famine coming to the whole earth. All right, these are the beginning of sorrows, and the uproars of the peoples, the kingdom versus kingdom. All right, the beginning of sorrows. These are the times that we're in. All right, this article here from BNE, all right, Intel News. It reads hundreds of millions hundreds of millions on verge of starvation, billions more unnourished as climate crisis droughts take their toll. All right, this is by Ben Aris in Berlin. All right, the climate crisis is depressing crop. Let me take a screenshot of that real quick. All right, it says the climate crisis is depressing crop yields and fueling a growing global hunger crisis that has already reached unprecedented proportions, with between 3.1 billion and 4.2 billion people now unable to afford a healthy diet, according to recent reports from the United Nations World Food Program (WFP) and the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO). All right, and I'm sure a lot of you all already know um, what these organizations are setting up um, as a fallback. All right, this is why you see a lot of scientists creating GMO foods. A lot of scientists creating foods out of feces. Out of they're doing that in China. It's a lot of other places. It's even places here in America that scientists are making fake meat. All right, 3D printed meat type of excuse me, type of foods, man. All right, we're not the instead of them coming up with a way to naturally grow foods within these climate control crisis. All right, they rather GMO food, or basically genetically modifying organisms, creating food with that, and creating unhealthy um, food products for the people, man. Just, it's a quick fix. It's like a fix-a-flat. All right, fix-a-flat is not gonna last that long. All right, but it's gonna get you to where you need to be. All right, and that's the mindset that these governments have. Instead of, but Yahweh Bashim Yahushua put that in their law, put that in their mind too. Bring forth his prophecies, man. All right, instead of natural, healthy foods, right? He has put it in the minds of scientists to genetically modify food. All right, it's just going more into his prophecy, more into his judgment. All right, but we have to be aware of these things to understand that, at the end of it all, we still gotta depend on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, depend on him to allow him to feed us, man. All right, and keep us away from the GMO foods. All right, but again, without him giving us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do the research on this, all right, and to do videos on these topics, all right, our people won't have the understanding or have the faith to be able to rely on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Instead, they'll run to any place to grab food. All right, the mindset of Esau, all right, that they don't care. They just want to eat. All right, back to the article. It says fewer people are in immediate danger of starving, but, all right, and that's the point. But even that number is rising rapidly, according to the WFP. Conflict, economic shocks, climate extremes, and soaring fertilizer prices are combining to create a food crisis. Right, conflict, economic shocks, all right, as we see across the, especially here in America, all right, this economy is crashing quick and fast, all right. We are in a recession already, all right, regardless if the media is saying it or not, or if the government is saying it or not, we are in a recession, all right. it, um, it says climate extremes, inflation is high, as well, and then it says climate extremes dealing with them spraying all that stuff into our atmosphere, man. All right. Which again goes back to, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, all right, bringing forth his judgment. All right. But, you know, Esau is the reason why. All of Esau, right? Esau that's over here in America, Esau in Europe, Esau in the Middle East. All of them have a hand in Esau down in South Africa. They everywhere, man. Right? All of them have a hand in destroying our climate, man, destroying our waters, destroying our air. Right? Them spraying all that stuff in the air, for one, is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua created the world to basically take care of itself, man. All right, the oceans, the trees, all of it works together. All right, and it naturally heals itself. But Esau pumps so much pollution in the air and into the waters that it can't heal itself. That the world needs Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to be able to heal it, man, because Esau is heavily polluting everything. Right? This is why climate is so messed up in the first place. It's due to all their science on the left hand side. All right, but back to the article. It says conflict, economic shocks, climate extremes, and soaring fertilizers prices, right, are combining to create a food crisis of unprecedented proportions. As many as 309 MN people, right? So the BN should be billion and the MN should be million. 309 million people are facing chronic hunger in 71 countries. Right? We have a choice: act now to save lives and invest in social solutions that secure food security, stability, and peace for all, or see people around the world facing rising hunger. The WFP said in a recent statement, conflict is still the biggest driver of hunger, with 70% of the world's of, of the world's hungry people living in areas affected by war and violence. According to the WFP, events in countries such as Palestine and Ukraine have created humanitarian, right, disasters in both countries. Both climate change possess to significantly worsen the situation in the most vulnerable countries, right? Again, this is all Yahweh Bashim Yahushua bringing forth his prophecies, man. Getting everything ready, all right, for the day of judgment. All right, let me grab something real quick. This is Joel 3:12. All right, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All right, like it says, there he was set to judge all the heathen round about. All right, let's go to Joel 3:2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them. Plead means to judge. All right, when you go into that word plead. All right, and I will judge with them there for my people. All right, so he will judge the people there, right? And when he gathers all these people to the valley of Jehoshaphat, right, it's all to bring forth his judgment. All right, because they have parted our lands, right? and scattered us. All right, let's continue reading. It says, "And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel." Right, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the speckled bird and the similar Indians. All right, these are the true children of Israel, man. All right, whom they have scattered among the nations. Right, we the ones that's been scattered. Right, not those small hatters who claim to be the Israelites. Right, or those Palestinians who claim to be the true chosen. Both of them claiming to be the true chosen children. Right, but these are the ones who are in our lands. Right, and our land is parted. Right, it says, "And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." Right. So our land is parted and the people are not there. The true people are not there. Right. So Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is bringing all these nations down to the valley of Jehoshaphat to bring forth his judgment, to judge them. All right. As you see all these proxy wars going on, which is going to lead to the Ezekiel 38, where it's going to be basically a war on those lands, right? Dealing with the BRICS and NATO, all right? Even with America, all right? The BRICS coming against America, Russia coming against America, all right? But at the point of the video is the famine and the pestilence. I mean, the famine that's coming, all right? As you see what's happening over there in Palestine, right? Over there in Gaza, over there in all these small countries, right, in the Middle East. Right, it's because of the wars and because of the so-called climate. It's major famine in those areas, right? But this is the Lord bringing forth His judgment, right, for what they have done to His children by scattering us and by parting our lands, right, that they are fighting over today. Back to the article, it says, right, conflict, economic shocks, right, climate extremes, and soaring fertilizer prices are combining to create a food crisis of unprecedented proportions. And drop back down to where I was at. Conflicts is still. Oh, so like my bad. Yeah, so it says, as many as 309 million people are facing chronic hunger in 71 countries. We have a choice: act now to save lives and invest in solutions that secure food security, stability, and peace for all, or see people around the world facing rising hunger. The WLP said in a recent statement, conflict is still the biggest driver of hunger, right? The conflict, right? As we were just going over, the Lord bringing judgment, right? Um, to these areas, right? The Middle East, Ukraine, right? All of this to bring forth the final chapter of judgment. All right, right now we're just going through the chapters, all right, but we're not at we're in the beginning of it, but not the end of it. All right. It says, but remember the end will come quickly. All right, but it says conflict is still the biggest driver of hunger, with 70% of the world's hungry people living in areas, right, affected by war and violence, right, especially down in the valley of Jehoshaphat in the Middle East, where Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is bringing forth judgment. Right, they are constantly at war, constantly at conflict with each other, right, where little children are being allegedly. I just leave it there, all right, because I don't want to get a strike. But you know, a lot of death and a lot of famine. All right, it's coming from this judgment. Right, that's coming from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, and he's just cranking up the heat from there. It says living in areas affected by war and violence, according to the WLP events in countries such as Palestine and Ukraine, has created humanitarian disasters in both countries, but climate change poses to significantly worsen the situation in the most vulnerable countries. Right? Because it's gonna this these wars, right, is gonna be spread across the whole world. Right? These small proxy wars is gonna end up creating World War III, all right, and fully manifesting it. All right, right now it's just being manifested, but eventually it will be boots on the ground. All right, in here in America. All right, boots on the ground in different places, man. The BRICS and NATO going at it. All right, to the point where NATO will end up leaving a bunch of countries of NATO will end up leaving. All right, and joining up with the BRICS, as we see Turkey is already doing that. All right, which will bring forth Ezekiel 38. All right, it says this year. Oh, Salaki. The climate crisis is one of the leading causes of the steep rise in global hunger. All right, global hunger. All right, because again, these wars is end up going to be pushed across the whole world, which is going to bring forth Jacob's trouble. All right, for the Israelites and that's over here in Americas. All right, where it's going to be martial law. Um, it's going to be a bunch of stuff. It's martial law. They're going to be pushing the MOTB. All right. It's bringing forth all the prophecies of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right. It's going to be a hellacious time like no other time is ever before. All right. So this is why you need Yahweh Shem Yahushua to be, uh, for you to be rooted into that, so you can have a covering and have an escape out of it. All right. It says climate shocks destroy live clock. It's like climate shocks destroy lives, crops, and livelihoods and undermine people's ability to feed themselves. Hunger will spiral out of control and the world fails to take immediate climate action. The WFP said this year has once, you see how they still continue to target the climate, right? Because they know they can't do nothing to stop the wars, right? And nobody can stop the wars, right? And they definitely can't do nothing to stop the climate either, right? Because Yahweh Shem Yahushua is making them destroy the climate. All right. It says undermining the people's ability to feed themselves. Hunger will spiral out of control if the world fails to take immediate climate action. The WFP said this year has once again been the hottest on record that has caused droughts that are affecting food production worse in some of the poorest parts of the world. A 2023 FAO report found that 3.1 billion people, 42% of the world's population, cannot afford the minimum nutritional requirements for a healthy diet. All right, that's deep. All right? A significant increase compared to previous years. In some regions, such as southern Africa, the situation is even more dire. Prolonged droughts have led a third of the countries in the region to declare a state of disaster, which an estimated 6 to 8 million people in urgent need of food aid. One of the worst droughts in living memories have swept across southern Africa, leaving close to 70 million people without enough food and water. Zimbabwe's President Emerson, right, declared a national disaster in April to tackle the prolonged drought crisis caused by low rainfall, right, which was wiped out about half of the maize maize crops. The grain shortage pushed up food prices, and an estimated 2.7 million people were coping with hunger. Coping with hunger. Neighboring Zambia, 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 and Mala, Malawi, Malawi also declared states of disaster due to drought. All right, again, this is all judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, bring forth judgment against these nations, man. Right, Hamitic nations, these basically all nations upon the earth, man. All right, but the only ones that's going to be taken care of is the elect. All right. Scientists have long warned that climate change would intensify food insecurity, and this year the world has reached that point. According to recent studies, the best case scenario of global warming is not now between 1.6 C Celsius and 1.7 Celsius, higher than the 1.5 Celsius target set by the Paris Agreement. As BNE News reported, the climate models are wrong and underestimating the pace of acceleration of temperature rises. Despite the comments made at Paris in 2015, emissions have not fallen but risen to an all-time high, while the leading Western countries have already overspent all their carbon um, budgets, like ignoring the limits to CO2 emissions. They agreed to the Paris that to in Paris that is contributing to the rapidly rising temperatures. Grab something real quick. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verse 19. The works of all flesh are before him, right? Before Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? And nothing can be hid from his eyes. Right? So all the abominations and all the wickedness that these heathens have done to his children and parting the Lord's land, right? The Lord has a judgment for that, man. He sees everything. Like it says in 19, nothing can be hid from his eyes, man. Right? Verse 20. He seeth from everlasting to everlasting, right? He saw it from the beginning to the end, right? And nothing has. He knows it all. He's seen it all, right? And there is nothing wonderful before him, right? Because he created it all. He saw it all, right? He's the most wonderful, right? Yahweh himself and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, right? Verse 21, a man need not to say, what is this? Wherefore is that? For he hath made all things for their uses. His blessing covered the dry land as a river, and watered it as a flood. As he hath turned the waters into saltness, so shall the heathen inherit his wrath. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. Right? Because people don't understand. This is all the judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Right? The beginning of sorrows, man. Right? The wars, the proxy wars, the famine, the pestilence. Right? The mosquitoes. I just did a lesson. My last lesson on that was about the mosquitoes with these 4 to 5 different diseases that they're carrying, viruses. These are all pestilence that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is bringing forth upon the earth, man, to come judge the earth. All right. But only the holy will understand it. The wicked won't have no understanding, right? Instead, they come up with all these plot schemes to come up with how they can um, alter the Lord's plans, right? Instead of being like the holy and understanding these things must come, right? To be faithful and sincere in this truth, and wait and be patient and humble thyself and lean and be rooted on Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? Verse 21, man need not to say, what is this? Wherefore is that? He hath made all things for their uses, right? Even the pestilence and the famine, right? His blessings covered the dry land as a river and watered it as a flood. As he hath turned the waters into saltness, so shall the heathen inherit his wrath. Right? The heathen will inherit his wrath. This is why he's bringing forth all these nations to the valley of Jehoshaphat to judge them, man. Right? Bringing judgment to the whole entire world. Right? All the heathens and all the wicked. Verse 25, for the good are good things created from the beginning. All right, read that again. For the good are good things created All right. So for the holy and the righteous, good things are created for them from the beginning. All right. So evil things for the sinners, right? Plagues, pestilence, all right, for all these wicked, uh, for the 2/3 of our people, all right, wicked, Esau, Edom, and these other heathen nations. All right, he has created evil things for them. All right, verse 26, the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All right, and Yahweh Shemi Awashai will take all of that in an instant when he bring forth his plagues and prophecies, man. When he judges, all right. But man, life, all right. We need those things, and Yahweh Shemi Awashai knows that. But only the holy and the righteous and the elect will have those things during these times, man. Verse 27: all these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil, right? And what's that evil? Right? Starvation, uh, homelessness, no shelter, no. I mean, you can go on and on and on, right? No fire to cook your food, no water to drink, no clean water to drink, right? You go on and on. Flour, right? The honey, the milk, right? The fruit, the oil, clothing, right? Only the God that will have these things during the days, during these times, man. These times of pestilence and destruction. It's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Meaning, this famine, the pestilence, the climate, all of this is just going to continue to rise. All right, but if you're not rooted in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you won't have the things you need. All right, verse 28, getting to the point. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, right? Which in their fury lay on sore strokes in the time of destruction, that pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Right? They're doing the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, bringing forth these pestilence and famines um, and destruction. Right? And this is all stemming from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. Right? Bringing forth his prophecy. Verse 29. Fire and hail and famine and death. Fire and hail. Right? Hail meaning like not, it's talking about snow, like hard ice falling from the sky, like frozen rain basically. Right? Fire and hail and famine, right? Because there go that famine, right? And death. All these were created for vengeance. Right? Verse 30, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction, man. So all this stuff the Lord uses, right, for his vengeance, man, for the things that they have done to the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, the speckled bird, which are the true Israelites. For all the things that these heathens have done to the elect, man, even 2/3 joining up with the heathen to bring forth wickedness to the holy, to the righteous, right? To the 1/3. All right, it says, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandments, right? These things are there for the Lord's vengeance, man, right? It says, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, right? And need is at this time, right? We in the last days. For anybody who claims that we're no longer in biblical times, they're a fool, man. All right, we are definitely coming into the 12th hour right now. We're still in biblical times. All right, meaning that the Lord word is still in effect, man. All right, his law, statutes, commandments, his his promises, right? His prophecies, right? All still in effect. It says, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word, right? Meaning that it's going to happen. These things must come to pass, man. Therefore, from the beginning, I was resolved and thought upon these things and have left them in writing. Right? That pretty much was the point, though. Right? Just about these things must come to pass. It's Luke 21:9. But when ye shall hear wars and commotions, be not terrified. Right? We're not terrified in these times, man. In this 12th hour, right? The destruction that's being manifested, the famine, the pestilence, right? Jacob trouble. Right? For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Right? So it's just meaning that it's getting close to the end. Right? Because after that we don't have too many more prophecies left. The MOTB, right? All that's gonna come during Jacob's trouble, the beginning of these sorrows. All right. Verse 10, subtitle says in the blue letter, it says things to come. Then said he unto them, nations, and this is Yahweh speaking, nations shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, right? Going back to that famine, and pestilence, going back to the pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven, right? As we've been seeing great signs in the skies. The uh, the eclipse that put an X on the United States, etc., etc. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before the kings and rulers for my name's sake. All right, and they know who to target, man. But we out on the highways and byways. They see us out there. All right. All it's gonna do during the time of Jacob's trouble, man, is just gonna bring trouble our way. All right. But we have a covering through it. All right. The Lord will protect us in those times for doing His work, for being part of His elect. All right. And Lord willing, I'm part of that number. How rock to South. All right. Verse 13. And it shall turn to you for a testimony, right? Testimony for you, present your body as a living sacrifice, for um, you know, put yourself in the fire for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, standing tall, all right, on His name, standing tall in His faith. Right? It's going to be our testimony, right? And that's pretty much the point. Grab something. All right, Ecclesiasticus 40:9, death and bloodshed, right? During these wars, right? During the proxy wars, and then that's leading up to the global war, World War III, strife and sword, calamities, famine, back at the famine, tribulations, and the scourges. These things are created for the wicked. And these things are literally created for the wicked, man. So the righteous and the just, right? The true children of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the elect, right, will be covered during these times, man. Right? They will have food to eat. They will have clothes on their back. They will have a fire to keep them warm and to cook their food. They will have fresh water, right? So on and so on, right? But for the wicked, the only thing they have to look forward to is death, bloodshed, strife, sword, calamity, famine, tribulation, and the scourges, man. These things are created for the wicked, right? And 2/3 of our people are going to be caught up in that because they are part of the wicked, right? And for their sakes came the flood, right? And again, what's the first one was with the flood, and the second one's going to Salaki, excuse me. So the second one's going to be with fire, right? The Lord doesn't change, man. The Most High Yahweh does not change, man. So again, these things were created for the wicked, and this time it's going to be a flood, and for their sakes came, Salaki, it's going to be a fire this time, right? Just like it was a flood for them the first time, it's going to be a fire the second time, right? Verse 11: all things that are on earth shall turn to the earth again, right? Everything that comes from the earth, right, will return back to the earth, go back to the soil, become dust again, literal dust, right? And that which is of the waters doth return into the sea. All bribery and justice shall be blotted out, right? All bribery and injustice, so like and injustice shall be blotted out, but true dealing shall endure forever, right? Because after this judgment, everything will be purified, man, and then it's going to be nothing but righteousness from forevermore. Right? Once we receive our new bodies, after the ceremony with Yahweh Shai, right? It's gonna be true dealing, and it's gonna be forever. Verse 13: the goods of the unjust shall be dried up like a river, right? As we see, that's happening, right? Their goods are drying up. They're coming up with GMO foods to maintain, right? Piss water, right? Taking pee and turning it to water, right? These are things that's the science communities are doing, right, to keep up with the famine, right? That's global, right? And it's getting worse and worse daily, right? It says the goods of the unjust shall be dried up like a river, and shall vanish with noise, like a great thunder and rain. While he openeth his hand, he shall rejoice, so shall transgressors come to naught. Second Esdras, chapter 16, verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. See, these are the beginnings that we're in, right? These sorrows and great mournings. The beginnings of famine, right? Is worldwide, and great death worldwide, right? The beginning of wars, these proxy wars leading up to World War III, global war, right? And the powers shall stand in fear, the beginnings of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come, right? And we know what to do, right? Just lean on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, trust and believe in Him. Understand that we'll be covered in these times, during the famines, during the pestilence, during the wars, during um, martial law, during the MOTB. I mean, so on and so on. As long as you depend on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and that's where your faith and your courage and your belief and your understanding and your heart is and your mind, right? You don't have to worry about anything, right? That's what we do in those times, right? Allow Him to guide us through it. Verse 19: behold, famine and plague, right? Tribulations and anguish are set as scourges for amendment, right? As set as scourges for amendment, right? As we were just reading throughout the earlier scriptures, these things are set up to be the Lord's vengeance, right? Shalaki, excuse me. Verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, right? They don't care. They're just living in their own lust, right? Especially two-thirds of our people not understanding and without the faith, without the understanding, without the wisdom, right? They just dwelling and following and running behind um, the wicked, right? Which is also known as spiritually known as Egypt and Nineveh, right? This place in America, right? Esau's system. Right? It says, but for all these things they shall not turn away from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, right? As you look around, you got things like Timu, right? Timu, they sell cheap stuff that look good. A lot of them clothes look good. A lot of that stuff, they sell for little to nothing and ship it to you for little to nothing. All right. But while people are so caught up into that, not understanding that everything else around them is deplenishing very fast, right? The food, right? Our clean air, our clean water, right? Our rights as people, right? Our rights as children of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? They don't care about that, right? They're totally against everything that dealing with the children, dealing with Yahweh Himself, dealing with Yahweh Shai, His teachings, right? His prophecies, right? They don't care about none of it, right? Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, right? As you look around America today, everybody think they just living a sweet life right now, not understanding what's coming, right? And it's already being manifested. It's already at play, right? It's already working, right? But our people are so caught up. 2/3 of our people are so caught up into Esau's system and into social media, into the world, not understanding and seeing what the Lord is doing, right? Bringing forth His prophecies, right? Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow, as just like as I was saying, upon earth, right? The sword, right? Going into these proxy wars, death, right? Famine, as what the article we was just reading on, right? It's just not just in these places that's dealing with war, right? This is coming across the whole world, right? As we see America in debt, right, and losing their economy, right, and losing the dollar, right, and all of these farmlands are being burnt up by the farmers, right? So Bill Gates can push out his GMO foods and his mRNA vegetables, right, and his mRNA mosquitoes, man. I mean, it's all wicked and destruction coming our way, people. We're not if we're not ready, then you know, you're gonna get caught up into that destruction, right? The mosquitoes. I just did an article with the mosquitoes, right? It's a lot of things you can put around your house, put around you to keep mosquitoes from biting you, right? Yeah. The main thing is to have that faith in your heart, Bashim Yahushua, to keep you safe and protected, right? That's the true only protection, just like the three men in the fire, right? How they was kept. Ananiah, as Mishael, Ananiah, Azariah, right? How they was protected with that cool mist in the furnace of the fire. Right? We have to have that same mindset to understand that even if we're not saved in it, right? I'm still gonna have my faith and trust into the Lord. Period. Right? So it says, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. All right, so many are right going to die from this famine that's upon the earth right now, man. Right, and it's getting worse and worse from here. Right, as people living in places like America, they don't see it, right, but they will feel it eventually, right, because at the end of the day, we still um, inflation is very high, right? And then you see what's coming across our borders. You see what's all this, everything that's being led up to Jacob's trouble, man. Right. So back at the article, and I ended. And this is just scrolling out to the last part of it. And it says, and even if countries are still producing enough food, come on, screen, scroll down with me. It's like, yeah, that pretty much was it. But I'm gonna jump up a paragraph. The current, I mean, 1.2 Celsius temperature increases from the industrial baseline have already reduced agriculture productivity by about 20% since 1970, with larger negative impacts in the Near East and North Africa. Near East and North Africa. India was thrown into a rice crisis last year as yields dropped precipitously, forcing the government to particularly ban exports to prevent domestic prices soaring, but causing a knock of crisis throughout the Pacific Rim. India's tomato crop also collapsed. Right? Yields have also been directly, and I'm assuming it's supposed to be fields, just like the other one's supposed to be fields, have also been directly affected by the war in Ukraine that has sent global fertilizer prices spiking. Global fertilizer prices have climbed even faster than food prices. The effect of the war in Ukraine, including higher natural gas prices, have further disrupted global fertilizer production and exports, reducing supplies, raising prices, and threatening to reduce. Oh my goodness, my phone be wild, y'all. Excuse me. It's like that. reducing supplies, rising prices, and threatening to reduce harvest. High fertilizer prices could turn the current food affordability crisis into a food availability crisis, WFP said. And even if countries are still producing enough food to feed their population, rising costs are pushing prices up to the point where the poorer members of society cannot afford to buy it, thus bringing the food crisis forward. The rising cost of basic nutrition is already pushing more people into extreme poverty. Currently, individuals need at least $7.40 per day to afford a diet that supports normal human life expectancy and the chance for their children to survive beyond their fifth birthday. The number of people living below this threshold has soared to 4.2 billion in the last few years. As the climate crisis continues to unfold, its impact on global food security is expected to deepen, further straining resources and pushing millions more into hunger and poverty. The international community faces mounting pressure to address both the immediate humanitarian needs and the long-term challenges posed by climate change. All right, so that's pretty much the lesson. To understand, there's no stopping what the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, to just have the mindset that we have to depend on him. But this is why you see all these major crises coming up, the fertilizer prices, et cetera, man. All right, this is the Lord prophecies being brought forth. All right, Jacob's trouble is in the midst. All right, beginning of sorrows is in the midst. All of these things before the day of the Lord's return, before the judgment. These things must come to pass. To have the mindset that as long as we depend on him, we will eat, we will have fire to stay warm, to cook our food, waters to drink, waters to wash our behinds, etc., etc. Right? Having the mindset to depend on him, because his words will come to pass. Right? So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Shalom, DTA.